lose those. You got to win them. All right, new on NFL Live. Another holdout storyline from our Adam Schefter. This coming from the Commanders. This morning, they officially placed wide receiver Terry McLaurin on the reserve did not report list. Something to keep an eye on as he looks out for a new deal. Of course, we'll keep you posted on that. And one other team arriving for training camp today is the Atlanta Falcons. Here's quarterback Michael Penix Jr. arriving as his first year as the team's full-time starting quarterback. You see that? Celebrating today adoption day for puppies, and he puts this little guy down but then loses him. I mean, this would have been really bad. If not for a really shifty, great athlete, that puppy is on the loose. But don't worry, he's secured the goods. Puppy security, important thing there, as you see Diggs signing that 3-year deal with the Patriots in March. Here's Drake May earlier today.
I think coming into year 2, hopefully, will be a kind of a bigger stride for me. Kind of take the next level to playing, kind of chess match with defense, and then just kind of remaining a passer longer when I scramble. I think that's big. Kind of getting outside the pocket, remaining a passer longer, hopefully some big plays, scramble plays, and just making the defense. I feel like I had good times last year where I had some guys deep that I may have missed them or took off running instead. So just try to remain a passer and just keep trying to work on footwork. I think that's the big thing. New offense, new play actions, new concepts to try to time it up and get a big group.
Drake May, always very impressive. I'm still distracted by that cute puppy, but let's welcome in our Patriots reporter, Mike Reese from Foxborough. Mike, what did you see other than puppies at day 1 out there on the practice field?
Well, Laura, I got to tell you, the Patriots did a great job. They had 41 puppies here, and 40 of them were adopted. So start with that. But I want to tell you, the play of the day, right? The play of the day at practice was the first play of full team drills. Drake May drops back, hits Stephon Diggs on a short crosser over the middle, and the fans that were here, more than 5,000, erupt in a big cheer. And so it was that connection that Drake May to Stephon Diggs on the first play that really got the energy up at practice. And then the two of them on the next full team drill connected on the first play again. And May saying after practice that it's awesome to be able to throw to someone like Diggs. And I just add Kyle Williams, the rookie receiver, had one big catch on Christian Gonzalez, the second team All-Pro. So a good start for him. And Laura, if you'd indulge me for a second, it was around this time last week. I was in studio and Booger was on the set remotely, and he so lovingly was pointing out how short I am. Boog, I just wanted you to know I made it to training camp undaunted, and Boog, you might be interested to know, this is what I bring with me. It's a step ladder, all right? When I'm out in the field, it's easy. I put it down, I can step up, Boog. If it's Drake May, if it's Pop Douglas, I just stay on ground level. But when you're in the studio, Boog, it's a little bit harder.
The studio tells all of our secrets. Boog, why are you bullying everybody? Come on, dude.
I'm not bullying him, but guess what, Mike? I love that, Mike. The fact that the audience doesn't know. They don't even know how the sausage is made. I love the fact that you're bringing your own pops, Mike. Kudos to you.
Mike Reese does it all.
That's right.
By the way,
Gotta be
Mike,
prepared, Boog.
Mike, tell them, and don't tell my husband Josh, but tell them that I will adopt that puppy that's still left over. You said there's 41 puppies. They had 40 adopted. I want that extra one. All right. Yes. The Patriots, by the way, 3rd easiest schedule according to ESPN Analytics in the NFL. So I think they could be set for a great season. New on NFL Live. Let's talk about the Giants a little bit. Their head coach, Brian Daboll, spoke this morning about his plans for the Giants' Week 1 starting quarterback.
These guys will be out here competing, but Russ is our starter. Russell's had a really good spring. The other quarterbacks have as well. I like that room. I like the direction the room is headed. He's a guy who's done it for a long time. He's got a lot of experiences. He's been in a number of systems. He's played a lot of football. He's seen a lot of things. He's made a lot of adjustments. And I think there's a lot of good give and take in our quarterback room. I think you need to have that. Those are the guys that are playing behind center. And they have to be very comfortable with what we're asking them to do. And you certainly listen to those guys.
All right, so Russ, officially QB1 for the Giants. Lewis, did Daboll need to make this call now?
Yeah, you know what, Laura? I think he did it simply so people don't continue to ask about it, which is natural when you draft a quarterback in the first round. You're going to ask, well, when's Jackson going to play? When's Jackson ready? How's Jackson doing? Is Jackson ready? Is Jackson going to be the starter? Is Jackson still competing? He's saying, well, look, I'll tell you what. Russ is starting. Now, we'll take it from there. And so, obviously, this kind of like the story will write itself, right? If Russ continues to play well, then Jackson probably sits the bench for for his rookie season. If the Giants are winning, Brian Daboll gets a second crack at it as far as maybe developing Jackson the following year. And maybe it's a Kansas City type situation, right? When they drafted Patrick Mahomes and Alex Smith was the starter, had the best season of his career, went to the Pro Bowl. The next season they shipped him off and put Patrick in there. I think that's what everybody ideally is looking for. Obviously, the New York Giants are trying to set it up that way. Hey, can we be good enough with Russ, lean on his veteran expertise, win enough games to where we can then develop this first-round quarterback down the road? Obviously, it's risky. I wouldn't bet on it, but we'll see what happens.
Yeah, and just to add to that, Lewis, I think that's a great point by you. He takes the questions and he pushes them all to the side. But as we saw in Seattle years ago, when they named Matt Flynn the starter, Russell Wilson came in and took the job over. Nobody ever said anything because we assumed it was going to be Matt Flynn. If you're in New York, I think we already knew Russell had the hand up. Follow the money. Russell is making $10 million this year. Jameis is making like 3 or 4, and then you draft a rookie out of Ole Miss. So I think without him saying that, we kind of already knew Russell was in pole position, as Mike Tomlin said last year, and now it's up to Russ to go out each and every day and continue to stay there. But this is really no surprise. But whether it's Russell now, Jameis later, it doesn't matter. The future is Jackson Dart. And so everything that they're doing in that organization is to make sure that this year, at the end of this season, yeah, you want to go out and win. And I know Brian Daboll, they got to win. I get that. But at some point, the future of this organization is Jackson Dart. And they got to try to balance that fine line of winning now and preparing Jackson Dart for the future, Lindsay.
I do love Lewis's impression of reporters and how we do our jobs. Yeah. Is he gonna start now? Is he gonna start now? The day after? Where's that competition at? Right? Like, Lewis, you nailed it. That's exactly me. Ask all those coaches, they don't love it. But for that point alone, this was a really smart move for Daboll to make, and just say Russell Wilson is the starter coming out of the gate. Like, look, he hasn't had the best couple seasons the last few seasons, but he is still a Super Bowl winning quarterback. The other guy, Jackson Dart, obviously Jameis Winston, the money alone, as Booker says he was going to be a backup guy. But Jackson Dart, as a rookie coming into the late first round, you can learn from Russell Wilson. You go in with Russell Wilson, he's an established starter. He knows how to lead a team. And if the day comes when he's not playing well, you can make the switch. And that, for a head coach who is coaching for his job, is a lot easier switch to make than it is to deal with a quarterback competition that's really not much of a competition, perhaps, out of the gate.
Yeah, it's a good point. All right, coming up, a monumental decision. McLaurin holding out of camp in Washington, looking for that new deal. His quarterback, Jayden Daniels, spoke on the matter earlier today.
I mean, I would talk to Terry like if he was here, just checking up on him. But at the end of the day, that's just a relationship we have on and off the field.
Do you think there's concern in the locker room about the situation, or just it's business in the NFL?
It's just business in the NFL. We know Terry's working. We don't really have to worry about him doing any of that. But at the end of the day, he's still one of our brothers.
Lewis, seems like Jayden doesn't think it's that big of a deal that Terry's holding out, but do you?
Yeah, I do, Laura. I think every day missed is detrimental. Look, Jayden Daniels is in his second year in the NFL. I know he's sitting up there, and you look at the guy, and you sit there and you go, has this guy been playing about 8-9 years? Because he just looks so mature and composed and under control. But he's in his second year, and this is his number one wideout. And he needs the reps with him to continue to grow and become not just a Pro Bowl level player, not just a guy who is knocking on the door of the Super Bowl, but a guy who can be an MVP candidate. They've knocked it out the park with him. Keep his best people around him. Get Terry in there. Agree on a contract so they can continue to grow. It's an exciting time in Washington. You don't want to derail that train in any way.
Yeah, I agree. McLaurin way too important to that team. Check out this tweet from our Commanders reporter, John Keim. Seems like all still good at Commanders camp today. Jayden Daniels' first pass in 11-on-11 dropped an over-the-shoulder dime to Deebo Samuel on a slot fade. Tyler Owens right there, but the throw beat him. So good stuff out of that Commanders offense. All right, another camp storyline involves Matthew Stafford and the Rams. Lindsay, what's the latest on Stafford as the Rams camp opens up?
Yeah, sure. Earlier last month, Matthew Stafford was in Hawaii, ripping it, playing some golf, but reports to training camp has a sore back. So I am told that he'll be off to the side doing some more with trainers, and then it'll be kind of a modified entrance into those practice drills. The Rams, though, really aren't concerned. When I first heard this was concerned, 37 years old and a back issue. How does that get better as you ramp up? But they have told me do not be concerned for Matthew Stafford. They expect that when the season comes, he'll be ready to go. And in fact, even if they were starting the season tomorrow, they said he wouldn't be on any any sort of injury report, and he'd be in there. So they're just using a caution with their 37-year-old, 17-year veteran quarterback.
That makes you feel better that he would play if the season started today. Like, all right, we can't have camp storylines and not include the Cowboys. Jerry Jones and Micah Parsons had a fun little back and forth this week regarding Parsons' looming contract extension.
There's nothing new about what we're talking about here today relative to contracts. That's been going on a long time. Now, you say, well, if you don't get him in, or you're going to lose the first 2 games and then go on to win the Super Bowl, well, we'll take that. Just because we sign him doesn't mean we're going to have him. He was hurt 6 games last year. We've signed, I remember signing a player for the highest paid at the position in the league, and he got knocked out 2/3 of the year, Dak Prescott.
When you go around the league and you see these other teams taking care of their best guys, I see TJ got taken care of, Max got taken care of, Miles got taken care of, and you got 2 years left on his deal. So if they don't want me here, they don't want me here. I'll go about my business. I understand the nature of the business. Like I said, as long as I'm here and under contract, I'm going to do what I have to do to perform at the highest level. But if this is the end, this is the end.
Woo, you noticed that hype man Trayvon Diggs was next to him. Look, what do you make of all this in Dallas?
Well, it's unfortunate, but here's the crazy part. I think this thing, if it's going to end, it's going to end on Jerry's term. Nobody's talking about this. He's playing on the fifth-year option this year, Laura. But they can actually franchise in the next 2 years. They control his rights, not only this year, but for 2 more years. So any deal that's done right now is probably going to be a team-friendly deal, and nobody is mentioning that right now. And I think if you're Micah, he talks about if this is the end, well, the Cowboys control the end because they have your rights, not only this year, but for the next 2 more if they want to franchise you.
Yeah, man. Lindsay, you're jumping into that fray in just a couple days. You're headed to Oxnard after you leave us here in Bristol, and we're going to be talking all about the Cowboys on Saturday with our Back Together Weekend special on ESPN and ABC. But you were in Dallas last year when Dak was awaiting the new deal. What did you learn from that situation that may inform this one?
Laura, I can't wait to get back there because it is so fun being a reporter at the Cowboys camp because it's unlike any other camp you'll go to because there's Jerry talking over there and then Jerry says something and then you go to the player and they let the players talk, right? We see Micah Parsons. He's in the middle of a contract situation and he is out there talking with reporters. But this is what the Cowboys do. This is what they embrace every single year. Dak, it was the same thing a year ago. Walk up to Jerry. Hey, Jerry, when's this going to end? Oh, he's not concerned about it. And so you take this situation, and Jerry's unbothered by it. Micah, obviously, a little more. He needs his money. He deserves his money. But the one thing that tends to be the case around there is that everybody knows come time for the season, the deals do get done. Players do get paid. It's just this entire circus vibe, for lack of a better term, when you go to training camp there. And that's what they love about the Cowboys. That's what Jerry loves about his Cowboys.
Yeah, I'm sure, Lindsay. For reporters, it's their dream, and they're sitting there going, "Look, I'm getting sound bites everywhere." But when you're just talking about from a pure football standpoint, this is just dumb. This whole thing just feels so dumb and unnecessary and manufactured. Let me ask you this: who talks about the fact that, well, you know what? I made the quarterback the highest paid player in the league, and what happened? He went out there and got hurt. Dak tried to get hurt. It's football. Of course there are risks associated. Why are you even bringing that up as a way to kind of say, hey, look, these are some of the reasons why I kind of maybe keep my cash, in my pocket when I have to pay these guys because I'm worried about them getting hurt. Well, no kidding. It happens. So that means that now you're using that, at the same time when you're really talking about Mike.